You talk too much. You share too much. You reveal your plans to people who have no business knowing them. And then you wonder why your dreams collapse before they even take root. Listen carefully to what I am about to tell you. Every word you speak is either building your future or destroying it. There is no middle ground. Your mouth is not neutral. Your tongue is not harmless. The things you say today are shaping the reality you will live tomorrow. Most people fail before they even begin because they cannot keep their mouth shut. They announce their intentions to the world like a child showing off a new toy. They seek validation. They crave approval. They want applause before they have done anything worth applauding. And in that moment of weakness, they drain the very power they need to succeed. You have been taught to share. You have been told that communication is key. You have been encouraged to express yourself, to speak your truth, to let people know what you are planning. And all of that advice, while well-meaning, has led you into a trap. Because the world is not waiting to support your dreams. The world is indifferent at best, and hostile at worst. When you announce your plans, you invite doubt. When you share your vision, you open yourself to ridicule. When you tell people what you are going to do, you give them permission to tell you why it will not work. And their words, their skepticism, their fear disguised as concern, seeps into your mind and weakens your resolve. This is not about secrecy for the sake of secrecy. This is about protecting the seed before it becomes a tree. Every great thing begins small. Every fortune starts with a single idea. Every empire is built on a foundation that no one else can see. And if you expose that fragile beginning to the harsh elements of public opinion, it will wither before it has a chance to grow. You are here because something inside you knows that your words have been working against you. You sense that you have been leaking power. You feel that your mouth has been sabotaging your potential. And you are right. Today, that changes. Today, you learn the ancient principle that has protected the plans of the wise and the successful throughout all of history. Before we go further, I want you to do something. If this message is already resonating with you, if you feel the truth of what I am saying, subscribe to this channel right now. And leave a comment telling me where you are watching from. Not your plans. Not your dreams. Just where you are. That is all. Because I want to know that this message is reaching people who are ready to change. Now, let us continue. There is a law that governs success. It is not written in books that most people read. It is not taught in schools. It is not discussed at dinner tables. But it operates with absolute precision, and it has determined the fate of every person who has ever lived. The law is this: what you protect in silence gains power. What you expose prematurely loses power. You have seen this law at work, even if you did not recognize it. You have watched people announce their grand plans with enthusiasm, only to abandon them weeks later. You have seen friends declare their intentions to change, to start businesses, to transform their lives, and then nothing happens. You have perhaps even done this yourself. You spoke about what you were going to do, and then the doing never came. This is not coincidence. This is not bad luck. This is the law in action. When you speak about your plans, something happens in your mind. You receive a small hit of satisfaction. People respond. They say, "That's great," or "Good for you," or "I hope it works out." And your brain registers that as a reward. You feel as if you have accomplished something simply by talking about it. The emotional payoff that should come from doing the work comes instead from talking about the work. And once you have received that reward, your motivation to actually do the work decreases. This is not a theory. This is how your mind operates. This is neuroscience. This is psychology. But more than that, this is observable reality. Watch people closely. The ones who talk the most about what they are going to do are almost never the ones who do it. The ones who achieve great things are often the ones you never heard coming. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Silence is strength. Silence is the protective shell around your vision while it is still forming. Think about a seed planted in the ground. It does not announce itself. It does not send up a sign that says, "I am going to be a mighty oak tree." It stays hidden in the dark soil, drawing nutrients, developing roots, gathering strength. Only when it is strong enough does it break through the surface. And by that time, it has momentum. It has a foundation. It cannot easily be stopped. Your plans need the same protection. Your dreams need the same darkness before they are ready for light. When you keep silent about what you are building, you give it time to develop roots. You give yourself time to build evidence. You give your vision time to solidify in your own mind before it is tested by the opinions of others. But you have not been doing this. You have been doing the opposite. You have been speaking your dreams into the open air, where they evaporate like water on hot pavement. You have been seeking encouragement from people who are not equipped to give it. You have been asking for support from people who do not understand what you are trying to build. And worse, you have been inviting interference. Not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. Not everyone who listens to your plans wants to see you succeed. Some people are threatened by your ambition. Some people are reminded of their own failures when they hear about your plans. Some people will subtly or not so subtly discourage you, not because they are evil, but because your success makes them uncomfortable. When you understand this, you understand why silence is not optional. Silence is essential. Silence is the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. Now, let me be clear about what I am not saying. I am not telling you to isolate yourself. I am not telling you to refuse all advice. I am not telling you to work in complete secrecy until you are dead or successful. What I am telling you is this: be selective about who gets access to your vision. Be strategic about when you reveal your plans. Be protective of your mental and emotional energy. There are people in your life who have earned the right to know what you are working on. There are mentors, partners, and trusted allies who can genuinely help you. But they are few. They are rare. And they are not the people you casually mention your goals to at parties or on social media. You must learn to discern. You must develop the discipline to hold your tongue when every fiber of your being wants to share what you are doing. You must resist the temptation to seek validation from people who have not done what you are trying to do. This is harder than it sounds. Because you are social. Because you want connection. Because you want people to know that you are doing something meaningful. But that desire, that need for external validation, is the very thing that will destroy your progress. Your future is fragile right now. It exists only as an idea, a vision, a possibility. It has no form yet. It has no evidence yet. It is vulnerable. And every time you speak about it to the wrong person, you weaken it. Every time you share your plans with someone who responds with doubt or indifference, you plant a seed of hesitation in your own mind. You may not notice it immediately. You may brush off their comments. You may tell yourself that you do not care what they think. But their words stay with you. They echo in your mind when you are alone. They surface when you hit obstacles. They become the voice that tells you to quit when things get difficult. This is why silence protects your future. Because silence keeps that destructive voice from ever entering your mind in the first place. Silence ensures that the only voice you hear is your own, and the only opinions that matter are those of people who have demonstrated wisdom and success in the area you are pursuing. The principle is simple, but the application requires discipline. It requires you to go against your natural inclination to share. It requires you to sit with your vision in private, to nurture it in quiet, to build it in secret until it is strong enough to withstand scrutiny. And here is what happens when you do this: your vision becomes real to you before it becomes real to anyone else. Your belief solidifies. Your commitment deepens. Your actions align with your intentions because there is no gap between what you say and what you do. You become integrated. You become whole. You become powerful. People will notice something different about you. They will not be able to identify what it is. You will seem more focused, more serious, more directed, and they will wonder what changed. But you will not tell them. You will continue to work in silence. You will continue to build in private. You will continue to protect your future with the same fierce discipline that a mother protects her child. This is the big idea. This is the central principle. This is the law that will change everything for you if you apply it. Silence is not the absence of action. Silence is the presence of power. And when you learn to harness that power, when you learn to move through the world without announcing every move you make, you become unstoppable. Because while others are talking, you are doing. While others are seeking approval, you are building evidence. While others are explaining their plans, you are executing yours. And when the time comes, when your work is undeniable, when your results speak louder than any announcement ever could, you will not need to say a word. The world will see. And they will understand. And by then, it will not matter what they think, because you will have already won. Now we must confront the mistakes you have been making. We must look directly at the patterns that have been sabotaging you. This will not be comfortable. But comfort is not what you need right now. You need truth. And the truth is that you have been your own worst enemy. You have been announcing your intentions like a town crier, hoping that public declaration will somehow force you to follow through. You have been confusing announcement with commitment. You have been mistaking words for action. And you have been paying the price. Let us examine exactly how this manifests in your life. You decide you are going to start a business, or write a book, or get in shape, or learn a new skill. And what is the first thing you do? You tell people. You post about it. You announce your intention to the world. And in that moment, you feel good. You feel productive. You feel as if you have already taken a significant step. But you have not. You have only spoken. And speaking is not doing. What happens next? People respond. Some with genuine encouragement. Some with polite acknowledgement. Some with skepticism disguised as concern. That sounds great, but have you thought about? Or, I hope it works out for you, or, my cousin tried that and it didn't work. And each of these responses, whether positive or negative, does something to your mind. The positive responses give you a false sense of accomplishment. You feel validated. You feel supported. You feel as if you are already on the path to success. But you have not done anything yet. You have only talked. And now your brain has received the reward that should come from actual achievement. Your motivation decreases because you have already gotten the emotional payoff. The negative responses, even the subtle ones, plant doubt. They introduce possibilities you had not considered. They remind you of all the reasons why this might not work. And even if you consciously reject these doubts, they settle into your subconscious. They become the background noise that plays when you encounter obstacles. They become the voice that whispers, maybe they were right, when things get difficult. But there is something even more damaging than the responses of others. There is the fact that you have now created an expectation. People know what you said you were going to do. They are watching. They are waiting to see if you follow through. And this creates pressure. Not the productive kind of pressure that comes from personal commitment, but the toxic kind of pressure that comes from external judgment. You become concerned with how you will look if you fail. You become worried about what people will think if they do not see results. And this fear, this concern with external perception, divides your focus. Instead of concentrating entirely on the work, part of your mind is now occupied with managing your image. Instead of being free to experiment, fail, and adjust, you feel trapped by the narrative you have created. And here is what happens: you stop. Or you never really start. Or you do a half-hearted version of what you said you were going to do, just enough to avoid complete embarrassment, but not enough to actually succeed. And then you have to either admit failure publicly, which is painful, or pretend you are still working on it, which is dishonest, or simply never mention it again and hope people forget, which is cowardly. All of this could have been avoided. All of this pain, all of this pressure, all of this wasted energy, could have been prevented by simply keeping your mouth shut. But you did not know this. Or if you knew it intellectually, you did not believe it deeply enough to act on it. You thought that announcing your plans would help you. You thought that public commitment would hold you accountable. And in some cases, for some people, that might be true. But for most people, for most situations, it is not. For most people, public declaration is the beginning of the end. Let us look at another pattern. You start working on something in private. You are making progress. You are building momentum. Things are going well. And then you tell someone. Maybe because you are excited. Maybe because you want feedback. Maybe because you are lonely in the work and you want connection. Whatever the reason, you share what you have been doing. And what happens? The energy shifts. Before, the project was yours alone. It existed in a pure space, free from outside influence. You were accountable only to yourself and to your vision. But now someone else knows. Now there is another opinion. Now there is another voice in your head. If they are enthusiastic, you might feel a temporary boost. But you might also feel pressure to maintain that enthusiasm, to deliver on the promise you have now implicitly made. If they are skeptical or critical, you might feel deflated. You might start to question yourself. You might lose some of the momentum you had built. Either way, something has been taken from you. The purity of your relationship with your work has been compromised. The project is no longer entirely yours. It now exists, in part, in the mind of another person. And their perception of it, their thoughts about it, their expectations around it, now influence your experience of it. This is why artists throughout history have been protective of their work in progress. This is why successful people often do not reveal what they are working on until it is complete. They understand that the creative process, the building process, the process of bringing something new into existence, is fragile. It needs protection. It needs privacy. It needs silence. But you have not been giving your projects that protection. You have been exposing them too early. You have been inviting input before you were ready for it. You have been making your private work public before it had a chance to solidify. And there is another mistake you have been making. You have been using talk as a substitute for action. When you are afraid to do the work, when you are uncertain about how to proceed, when you are procrastinating, what do? You talk about the work. You discuss it. You analyze it. You make plans. You refine your strategy. You tell people what you are going to do. And all of this feels productive. It feels like you are moving forward. But you are not. You are standing still. You are avoiding the actual work by engaging in the appearance of work. This is a comfortable trap. Because talking is easy. Talking does not require the same courage as doing. Talking does not expose you to real failure. Talking does not demand that you face your limitations. Talking is safe. And so you talk. And talk. And talk. And the work remains undone. You must see this pattern in yourself. You must recognize it. You must admit that you have been guilty of this. Because until you acknowledge the problem, you cannot change it. And this problem is costing you everything. It is costing you your dreams. It is costing you your potential. It is costing you your future. The world is full of people who were going to do great things. People who had plans. People who had vision. People who had talent. But they talked instead of working. They announced instead of executing. They sought validation instead of building evidence. And now they are filled with regret, wondering what could have been if only they had kept their mouths shut and done the work. You do not have to be one of those people. You can choose differently. But you must first see clearly what you have been doing wrong. You must confront the harsh reality that your words have been betraying you. You must accept that your need for external validation has been killing your dreams. There is also this: when you talk about your plans, you make yourself vulnerable to energy vampires. These are people who, consciously or unconsciously, feed off your enthusiasm. They ask questions. They express interest. They seem engaged. But what they are really doing is draining you. They are taking the energy you need for your work and consuming it in conversation. You leave these interactions feeling tired, feeling less motivated, feeling as if some of the excitement you had for your project has diminished. And it has. Because you gave it away. You spent it on words instead of conserving it for action. Successful people recognize this dynamic. They are careful about where they direct their energy. They understand that enthusiasm is a finite resource. They know that every time they talk about their plans, they are spending energy that could be used to execute those plans. So they talk less. They do more. And they protect their energy like a miser protects gold. You have not been doing this. You have been generous with your words and stingy with your action. You have been spending your energy on conversation and wondering why you have none left for creation. You have been giving away your power in casual discussions and then feeling powerless when it is time to do the work. This must stop. Today. Right now. You must become stingy with your words and generous with your action. You must stop talking about what you are going to do and start doing it. You must protect your plans, your dreams, your vision, with the fierce silence of someone who understands that words are either weapons or shields, but never neutral. Now we arrive at the transformation. Now we shift from what you have been doing wrong to what you must do right. Now you adopt a new way of thinking, a new way of being, a new relationship with your words and your work. From this moment forward, you operate differently. You understand that silence is not something you practice occasionally when you remember. Silence is your default position. Silence is your strategy. Silence is your strength. This requires a complete reorientation of your mind. You have been trained to share. You have been conditioned to communicate. You have been taught that openness is virtue and secrecy is vice. But those teachings, while appropriate in some contexts, do not apply to your dreams. They do not apply to your vision. They do not apply to the future you are trying to build. Your future belongs to you alone. It is not a democracy. It is not up for debate. It is not subject to the opinions or approval of others. It is yours to create, yours to build, yours to protect. And the primary way you protect it is through silence. This is not about being dishonest. This is not about lying when people ask you questions. This is about being strategic with the truth. It is about understanding that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. It is about recognizing that your time, your energy, and your vision are precious resources that must be allocated wisely. When someone asks what you are working on, you do not owe them a detailed explanation. You can be vague. You can be brief. You can redirect the conversation. You can say, "I'm working on a few projects," or "I'm focusing on some personal development," or simply, "I'm keeping busy." These are not lies. They are boundaries. They are protection. They are wisdom. You must develop comfort with ambiguity. You must learn to exist in the space between secrecy and disclosure. You must become someone who is known for doing rather than talking. Someone who surprises people with results rather than announcements. Someone who shows up with the finished product rather than the grand plan. This requires discipline. It requires you to resist the urge to share every time you make progress. It requires you to sit with your victories in private before you celebrate them in public. It requires you to value your relationship with your work more than your relationship with external validation. Let me tell you what happens when you make this shift. When you stop talking about what you are going to do and simply start doing it, your entire energy changes. You become more focused. You become more directed. You become more powerful. Because all the energy you were spending on managing perceptions, on explaining yourself, on seeking approval, now flows directly into your work. You wake up in the morning and instead of thinking about what you will tell people about your progress, you think about the work itself. You engage with your projects without the burden of external expectations. You are free to experiment, to fail, to adjust, to learn, without an audience watching and judging. This freedom is invaluable. This freedom is the difference between mediocre work and masterful work. And here is something else that happens: your belief in yourself strengthens. When your commitment to your vision is private, when it is between you and you alone, it becomes pure. It becomes unshakable. You are not doing the work to impress anyone. You are not pursuing your goals to prove anything to anyone. You are doing it because you decided to do it. And that decision, that private commitment, becomes the foundation of your character. This is total responsibility. This is what it means to own your life. You are not borrowing motivation from the approval of others. You are not dependent on external encouragement. You are self-directed, self-motivated, self-sufficient. You become the source of your own drive. And when you become the source, you become unstoppable. Because external circumstances cannot shake you. Criticism cannot deter you. Doubt from others cannot penetrate your mind. You have built a fortress of silence around your vision, and nothing can breach it. This is the new mindset. This is the transformation. This is the turning point where you shift from being someone who talks about success to someone who embodies it. But there is more. When you operate in silence, you develop a quality that is rare and valuable: mystique. People become curious about you. They wonder what you are doing. They notice that you are different. You do not brag. You do not seek attention. You do not announce your moves. And yet, you seem to be progressing. You seem to be growing. You seem to be succeeding. And this creates a magnetic quality. The world is full of noise. Everyone is shouting. Everyone is promoting. Everyone is trying to be seen and heard. And in that chaos, the person who is silent stands out. The person who does without announcing becomes intriguing. The person who delivers results without prior warning becomes respected. You do not need to be loud to be powerful. You do not need to be seen to be successful. You do not need to announce yourself to make an impact. In fact, the opposite is true. The quieter you are about your process, the louder your results speak. The less you say about what you are going to do, the more impressed people are when you do it. This is the paradox of silence. It seems like invisibility, but it is actually the ultimate visibility. Because when you finally reveal what you have been building, when your work is undeniable, when your results speak for themselves, you do not need to say a word. Everyone sees. Everyone understands. Everyone respects. But you cannot get to that point by talking. You can only get there by working. And you cannot work with full intensity if you are constantly dissipating your energy in conversation. You must choose. Talk or work. Announce or build. Seek validation or create value. You cannot do both at full capacity. So you choose work. You choose building. You choose creation. And you protect that choice with silence. This also means you must change your relationship with social media. You must stop using it as a diary. You must stop documenting every step of your journey. You must stop posting about your plans and your progress and your process. Because every post is a leak. Every update is a drain. Every share is a theft from the energy you need for the actual work. I am not telling you to delete your accounts. I am telling you to use them strategically, if at all. If you post, post results. Post completed work. Post evidence. But do not post intentions. Do not post plans. Do not post the behind the scenes of something that is not yet finished. Keep that to yourself. Protect it. Guard it. Treat it as the sacred thing it is. Your future is being built right now, in this moment, by the choices you make about where to direct your energy. If you direct it outward, into words and posts and announcements, you weaken your future. If you direct it inward, into work and action and execution, you strengthen your future. The choice is yours. But the consequences are inevitable. Silence is not passive. Silence is not weak. Silence is not hiding. Silence is strategic invisibility. Silence is concentrated power. Silence is the choice of the wise, the disciplined, the successful. From this day forward, you are someone who values action over announcement. You are someone who protects their vision with fierce privacy. You are someone who understands that the less you say, the more you do. And the more you do, the less you need to say. This is your new identity. This is who you become. This is the turning point. And everything in your life changes from here. Now we move from principle to practice. Now we take this understanding and translate it into daily action. Now you learn exactly what to do, starting today, to harness the power of silence and protect your future. These are not suggestions. These are not ideas to consider. These are commands. These are disciplines. These are the daily habits that will separate you from the masses of people who talk big and deliver nothing. If you implement these practices, your life will change. If you ignore them, nothing will change, and you will continue to sabotage yourself with your words. First, institute a 30-day silence protocol. For the next 30 days, you do not announce any new goals, plans, or intentions to anyone except a single trusted advisor, if you have one. This is non-negotiable. 30 days of complete silence about what you are building. If people ask what you are up to, you give vague, brief answers and redirect the conversation. You do not post about your plans on social media. You do not tell friends what you are working on. You do not share your vision with family members who have not earned the right to hear it. This is difficult. You will feel the urge to share. You will want to talk. You will want validation. Every time you feel that urge, you note it. You observe it. You recognize it as the pattern that has been sabotaging you. And you do not act on it. You sit with the discomfort. You breathe. You redirect that energy into your work. During these 30 days, you keep a private journal. Every day, you write about what you are working on, what progress you made, what you learned, what challenges you faced. But this journal is for you alone. No one else reads it. This becomes your outlet. This becomes the place where you process your journey. This satisfies the need to express without leaking your power to others. At the end of 30 days, you evaluate. You notice how much more you accomplished when you were not talking about it. You notice how much stronger your focus was. You notice how much more energy you had. And then you extend the protocol. Because it works. Second, create a filter for all communication. Before you speak about anything related to your goals, your projects, or your future, you ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Does this person need to know this information to help me succeed? 2. Has this person demonstrated wisdom and success in this area? 3. Will sharing this information serve my progress, or will it only serve my ego? If the answer to all 3 questions is not yes, you do not share. You keep it to yourself. You protect it. This filter becomes automatic over time. It becomes part of how you think. It becomes your default setting. And it saves you from countless energy leaks. Third, develop a daily practice of internal commitment. Every morning, before you engage with the world, you spend time alone with your vision. You review your goals. You visualize your success. You reconnect with why you are doing what you are doing. But you do this in silence. You do not speak it out loud. You do not write it on social media. You do not tell anyone. This is between you and your future self. This daily practice strengthens your internal motivation. It makes you independent of external validation. It builds the kind of self-reliance that is essential for sustained success. Over time, this practice makes you so internally referenced that the opinions of others become almost irrelevant. Fourth, replace announcement with evidence. When you are tempted to tell someone what you are going to do, you stop yourself and ask, can I show them instead of tell them? Can I wait until I have something tangible to share? Can I build evidence before I build expectations? Most of the time, the answer is yes. You can wait. You can build. You can create something real before you say anything. And when you do this consistently, you become known as someone who delivers. Someone who does not make empty promises. Someone whose words, when they come, carry weight because they are backed by evidence. This shift from announcement to evidence changes how people perceive you. It changes how you perceive yourself. It builds a track record of follow-through that becomes your reputation. Fifth, master the art of strategic ambiguity in all social situations. When you find yourself in social situations and people inquire about your life, your work, your plans, your goals, your ambitions, you develop and refine the sophisticated skill of being simultaneously honest and vague. You do not lie. You never fabricate. You never deceive. You simply do not offer more information than is absolutely necessary. You provide just enough to satisfy social conventions without revealing anything of substance. Someone asks what you are working on. What projects consume your time? What goals you are pursuing? You respond with carefully calibrated language, I am focused on some projects that are in early stages. That statement is true. That statement is honest. That statement reflects reality. But it does not give away anything specific. It does not invite follow-up questions. It does not create expectations in the minds of others. It does not open doors for unsolicited advice. It protects your work while maintaining social grace and avoiding awkwardness. This is a skill that must be developed. It must be practiced deliberately. It must be refined over time. At first, it will feel deeply uncomfortable. You will feel the strong urge to elaborate. You will want to share details. You will want to explain your vision. You will want to describe your plans in vivid detail. But you resist these impulses. You stay intentionally vague. You keep the conversation light and superficial. And you skillfully redirect attention away from your private work and toward neutral topics that do not matter. Topics like weather, sports, entertainment, current events, anything that protects what you are actually building. Over time, something remarkable happens. People stop asking. They recognize that you are private about certain things. They understand that certain topics are off limits. They respect your boundaries. And you are free to work without the burden of their curiosity, their opinions, their doubts, or their skepticism. Sixth, drastically limit your consumption of external input during the creation process. When you are in the active process of building something, when you are in the middle of creation, when you are bringing something new into existence, you drastically reduce how much advice you seek, how many opinions you solicit, how much input you allow into your consciousness. Too much external input during the creation phase dilutes your vision. It introduces unnecessary doubt. It creates confusion. It slows you down. It waters down what could have been great into something mediocre. You decide at the very beginning of a project, before you even start, who your trusted advisors are. 2 or 3 people maximum. Never more. People who have relevant expertise in the specific field you are working in. People who have your best interests at heart and have proven that through their actions. People who have demonstrated success in similar endeavors. These are the only people you consult. Everyone else is noise. Everyone else is a distraction. Everyone else, no matter how well-meaning, is a potential threat to your vision. You do not post questions on social media seeking validation. You do not ask for feedback from people who are not qualified to give it, from people who have never built anything themselves. You do not open yourself up to the opinions of the masses, to the crowd, to people who consume but never create. You protect your creative process by limiting input to only the most valuable sources, the most proven sources, the most trustworthy sources. 7th, build completely before you broadcast anything. This is the ultimate discipline. This is the highest level of self-control. You build in private, in silence, in obscurity, until what you are building is undeniable. Until it is so good that it cannot be ignored. You do not launch prematurely. You do not reveal too early. You do not show people half-finished work seeking validation. You wait patiently until your work is strong enough, polished enough, complete enough to speak for itself without any explanation needed. This requires tremendous patience. It requires you to resist the powerful temptation to show people what you are working on before it is truly ready. It requires you to sit with the deep insecurity of working in obscurity, of laboring while no one watches, of building while no one cheers. But this is where mastery is forged. This is where great work is created. This is where legends are born. When you finally reveal what you have been building in secret, it is complete. It is polished to perfection. It is powerful and undeniable. And people are genuinely impressed. They are shocked. They are amazed. They wonder how you did it. They wonder when you did it. They wonder where you found the time. They wonder why they never heard you talk about it. And that wondering, that surprise, that shock, that respect, is worth far more than any encouragement you might have received along the way. It is worth more than any validation you might have gotten during the process. Your blueprint for transformation, integration and implementation. These 7 practices are your blueprint for a new life. These are the habits that will completely transform your relationship with your words, your work, your goals, and your future. They are not complicated. They are actually quite simple. But they are difficult. They are challenging. They require serious discipline. They require you to go against your social conditioning, against everything society has taught you about sharing and openness. They require you to value your future more than your need for immediate approval. They require you to value results over validation. But you are capable of this. You have the strength to do this. You have the willpower to implement these changes. And when you do, when you implement these practices consistently over time, you will become a fundamentally different person. You will transform completely. You will become someone who is respected for their results, not their promises. Someone who is known for their work, not their words. Someone who is admired for their achievements, not their announcements. Someone who builds empires in silence and reveals them in splendor. Take action immediately, your starting point. Start today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not when you feel ready. Today. Right now. Choose one of these 7 practices and implement it immediately. Commit fully. And then add the others, one by one, systematically, until they become part of who you are at your core. Until silence is no longer something you practice consciously, but something you embody naturally. Until protecting your future with your tongue becomes as natural as breathing, as automatic as your heartbeat, as instinctive as blinking. This is your path forward. This is how you reclaim your power. This is how you build the future you deserve. We have reached the end of this message. But this is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning. This is the moment where you decide what kind of person you are going to be. You have been given truth today. You have been shown the law that governs success in this area of life. You have been confronted with your mistakes. You have been given a new mindset. You have been handed practical tools. The question now is, what will you do with this information? The moment of decision. Will you hear these words and feel inspired for a day, only to return to your old patterns by tomorrow? Will you nod in agreement and then continue to announce your plans to anyone who will listen? Will you understand intellectually but fail to change behaviorally? Or will you take this seriously? Will you commit? Will you transform? The choice is yours. It has always been yours. No one can make you keep your mouth shut. No one can force you to work in silence. No one can compel you to protect your future. You must choose it. You must want it. You must value your success more than you value the temporary satisfaction of external validation. This is not a casual decision. This is not something you can approach with half-hearted effort. This is the defining choice that will determine whether you remain where you are or ascend to where you want to be. The gravity of this moment cannot be overstated. Everything changes based on what you decide right now. Understanding the chain of creation. Understand this: you are the cause of everything in your life. Not circumstances. Not other people. Not luck. You. Your thoughts create your words. Your words influence your actions. Your actions determine your results. If you do not like your results, you must change your actions. If you want to change your actions, you must change your words. If you want to change your words, you must change your thoughts. And it all begins with this decision, to protect your future with silence. This is the chain of creation that most people never recognize. They look at their results and blame external factors. They point to their circumstances as if they were imposed upon them by fate. But the truth is more empowering and more demanding. You are the architect of your reality. Every word you speak is a seed planted in the soil of your future. Every announcement you make is energy diverted from the work itself. Every validation you seek is power transferred away from your vision. When you understand this chain, thought to word to action to result, you understand why silence is not just a strategy but a necessity. The pattern of the successful. Every person who has achieved anything significant has understood this principle. They may not have articulated it the way it has been articulated here, but they lived it. They worked in obscurity while others talked. They built in private while others broadcasted. They remained silent while others announced. And when the world finally saw what they had created, it was undeniable. Study the patterns of those who have succeeded. Look beyond their public achievements and examine their private habits. You will find a common thread: they guarded their work. They protected their vision. They refused to dissipate their energy through premature disclosure. They understood something profound, that the seed must remain underground to grow. That the work must be protected from exposure until it is strong enough to withstand scrutiny. That silence is not the absence of power but the accumulation of it. You can do the same. You have the same hours in the day. You have access to the same principles. You have the same opportunity to choose silence over noise, action over announcement, building over broadcasting. The only difference between you and those who have succeeded is that they made the choice and followed through. They disciplined themselves. They protected their vision. They kept their mouth shut and let their work speak. The playing field is more level than you think. You are not lacking in time. You are not lacking in opportunity. You are not lacking in potential. What you may be lacking is discipline. What you may be lacking is the willingness to work in obscurity. What you may be lacking is the strength to resist the urge to announce. But these are not permanent deficiencies. These are choices. And choices can be changed starting right now. Where your future is being forged. Your future is being determined right now. Not by what you hope for. Not by what you wish for. Not by what you talk about. But by what you do in silence. By what you build when no one is watching. By what you commit to in private. This is the crucible where your destiny is being forged. Not in the public declarations. Not in the social media posts. Not in the conversations where you reveal your plans. But in the quiet hours. In the early mornings. In the late nights. In the moments when you choose to work instead of talk. Your future is not being determined in the moments of visibility. It is being determined in the moments of invisibility. It is being shaped by the decisions you make when there is no audience, no applause, no recognition. These are the moments that matter most. The world does not need more people who talk about what they are going to do. The world is drowning in empty promises and grand announcements. The world needs people who do the work. People who deliver results. People who show up with finished products instead of elaborate plans. People who surprise everyone because they were working while everyone else was talking. Look around you. Listen to the noise. Observe how many people are broadcasting their intentions. Notice how many are seeking validation for plans rather than presenting finished work. The landscape is crowded with talkers. But there is vast, open space for doers. This is your opportunity. While everyone else is announcing, you will be building. While everyone else is seeking approval, you will be executing. While everyone else is talking about what they will do, you will be doing it. The discipline begins today. Be that person. Become that person. Starting today. Starting right now. Close your mouth. Open your laptop. Close your mouth. Pick up your tools. Close your mouth. Do the work. Day after day. Week after week. Month after month. In silence. In private. In obscurity. Until the work is undeniable. This is not a complicated formula. It is simple. But simple does not mean easy. Simple means clear. The path is clear. The discipline is clear. The requirement is clear. What remains is your willingness to walk this path. Discipline is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. It is a moment-by-moment choice to do what serves your future rather than what satisfies your present craving for validation. It is the willingness to delay gratification. It is the strength to work without applause. Every day you will face the temptation to talk, to share, to announce, to seek feedback, to test the waters, to get validation. And every day you must resist. Every day you must choose the work over the words. Every day you must protect your vision with your silence. And when people finally see what you have built, when they marvel at what you have accomplished, when they ask how you did it, you will smile. And you will say very little. Because you will have learned the ultimate truth: the less you say, the more power you have. The more you work in silence, the louder your results speak. The better you protect your future with your tongue, the more magnificent that future becomes. This is the ultimate validation. Not the words of encouragement you might receive for your plans. Not the likes or comments on your announcements. But the undeniable evidence of your work. The finished product. The accomplished goal. The manifested vision. When you arrive at this point, you will understand why silence was necessary. You will see clearly how premature disclosure would have weakened your work. You will recognize the power you accumulated by keeping your mouth shut. And you will be grateful that you chose this path. The path is clear. This is the path. This is the way. This is the discipline of the successful. And it is available to you. Right now. In this moment. If you choose it. The path is not hidden. It is not secret. It is not reserved for a select few. It is available to anyone who has the discipline to walk it. It is available to anyone who values their future more than their need for present validation. It is available to anyone who can keep their mouth shut and do the work. You do not need permission to walk this path. You do not need special credentials. You do not need anyone's approval. You simply need to decide. You need to commit. You need to begin. So choose it. Commit to it. Live it. Protect your future with silence. Let your work speak for you. Let your results be your announcement. Let your success be your proof. Every moment you delay is a moment wasted. Every conversation where you reveal your plans is energy leaked. Every announcement you make is power diminished. The time to begin is not tomorrow. It is not next week. It is not when conditions are perfect. The time is now. What happens when you change? Nothing changes if you do not change. Nothing in your life transforms if you continue the same patterns. But if you embrace this principle, if you implement these practices, if you discipline your tongue and focus your energy, everything changes. Your results change. Your reputation changes. Your life changes. This is the promise. This is what awaits on the other side of discipline. This is what you gain when you trade talking for doing. This is the reward for those who work in silence. Your results change because your energy is no longer being dissipated through words. It is being channeled into action. Your focus is undivided. Your power is concentrated. And concentrated power produces results. Your reputation changes because you are no longer known for what you say you will do. You are known for what you have done. You are no longer the person with big plans. You are the person with big results. And the world respects results in a way it never respects plans. Your life changes because you have broken free from the cycle of announcement and disappointment. You have stepped into the ranks of those who deliver. You have become someone who can be counted on. Someone who follows through. Someone who does what they say by saying nothing and doing everything. You are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to more of the same. More talking, more announcing, more seeking validation, more disappointment. The other path leads to power, to results, to respect, to success. The path is silent. The path is private. The path is disciplined. And the path is waiting for you. Both paths are available. Both are accessible. But they lead to very different destinations. One leads to the life you have been living. The other leads to the life you have been wanting. The choice seems obvious. But obvious does not mean automatic. You must choose. The questions that determine destiny. Which path will you choose? What will you do in the next hour? What will you not say in the next conversation? How will you protect your future today? These questions will determine your destiny. Answer them wisely. Answer them with commitment. Answer them with silence. And let your actions be the only sound the world needs to hear. These are not rhetorical questions. These are practical, immediate, demanding questions that require answers. Not abstract answers. Not hypothetical answers. But real, concrete, behavioral answers. What will you do in the next hour? Will you talk about your plans or will you work on them? Will you seek validation or will you create value? Will you announce or will you execute? What will you not say in the next conversation? When someone asks what you are working on, will you give them a detailed explanation or will you give them a simple, protective answer? When the urge to share rises up, will you indulge it or will you resist it? How will you protect your future today? What specific actions will you take to guard your vision? What discipline will you implement? What boundary will you establish? Your answers to these questions, demonstrated through your behavior, will determine whether you transform or remain the same. The call you must answer. Your future is calling. It is asking you to protect it. It is asking you to fight for it. It is asking you to shut your mouth and do the work. Will you answer that call? Will you honor that request? Will you become the person you are capable of becoming? This is not a casual invitation. This is a demand. Your potential is demanding that you rise to meet it. Your future is demanding that you protect it. Your destiny is demanding that you do the work required to reach it. You can ignore this call. You can continue as you have been. You can keep talking, keep announcing, keep seeking validation. But you know where that leads. You have been down that road. You have seen the results. And you are here, reading this, because some part of you knows there is a better way. The answer must be yes. And that yes must be followed by action. Silent, consistent, powerful action. Starting now. Starting today. Starting with the decision to never again leak your power through careless words. Starting with the commitment to build in private what you will one day reveal in public. Yes is not enough by itself. Yes must be accompanied by action. Yes must be proven through behavior. Yes must be demonstrated through discipline. A yes without action is just another empty promise. A yes without follow-through is just another announcement that leads nowhere. Your yes must be different. Your yes must be backed by commitment. Your yes must be followed by silence and work. Your yes must be the beginning of transformation, not just another moment of inspiration that fades by tomorrow. Your defining moment. This is your moment. This is your turning point. This is your opportunity to separate yourself from everyone who talks and join the ranks of those who do. Take it. Own it. Live it. How many turning points have you encountered before? How many moments of clarity have you experienced? How many times have you felt inspired to change? And how many of those moments led to lasting transformation? This moment can be different. But only if you make it different. Only if you treat it differently. Only if you respond to it with a level of commitment you have not brought before. This is not just another piece of advice. This is not just another motivational message. This is the principle that separates those who achieve from those who merely aspire. This is the discipline that creates the difference between talking and doing. This is the path that leads from where you are to where you want to be. Silence protects your future. Remember that. Embody that. Live by that principle every single day. And watch as everything you have ever wanted begins to materialize, not because you talked about it, but because you worked for it. In silence. With power. With purpose. Make this your mantra. Make this your operating principle. Make this the lens through which you evaluate every urge to share, every temptation to announce, every desire for premature validation. When you want to talk about your plans, remember, silence protects your future. When you want to announce your goals, remember, silence protects your future. When you want to seek validation for ideas, remember, silence protects your future. When you want to test the waters with others, remember, silence protects your future. Let this principle guide your behavior. Let it shape your discipline. Let it protect your power. And let it lead you to the results you seek. The final command. Now go. Say nothing. Do everything. And become unstoppable. This is not a suggestion. This is a command. Not from an external authority, but from your own highest self. From the part of you that knows what you are capable of. From the part of you that is tired of talking and ready to do. From the part of you that understands that your future depends on the choice you make right now. Say nothing. Close your mouth. Guard your tongue. Protect your vision. Keep your plans to yourself. Resist the urge to share. Refuse the temptation to announce. Let silence be your shield. Do everything. Do the work. Take the action. Execute the plan. Build in private. Create in obscurity. Labor when no one is watching. Produce when no one is applauding. Deliver when others are still planning. Become unstoppable. Not through force. Not through aggression. But through discipline. through consistency, through the accumulated power of silent work, through the undeniable results that come from protected focus, through the transformation that occurs when you channel all your energy into action rather than announcement. You now know the principle. You now understand the path. You now have the clarity. What remains is the doing. What remains is the discipline. What remains is the choice. Choose silence. Choose action. Choose power. Choose results. Choose the future you want by protecting it with your tongue and building it with your hands. Your journey begins now. In silence. In private. In power. Go and become what you are capable of becoming. And let the world discover what you have built when the work is finished and undeniable. Now go. Say nothing. Do everything. And become unstoppable.